Yeah, man, it was definitely solid, Troy. Really understanding. I continue to really understand and hone in on what people are looking for, right? That's kind
Hmm
of what I'm after. What are people looking for that I
hmm
can provide? You know what I mean?
hmm
And that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm gonna
You in a,
probably talk
you in a good spot.
offline on something I watched yesterday. I think it will resonate with you as well. Because I wanted to show you
Okay.
some one of the things that we watch. But
Yeah.
I don't want to put it out there. I'm just going to say it's one of the things that you and I watch, and something that the dude said I thought was very interesting because it affected.
Okay.
I think it kind of affects both of us
Yeah.
with what he said, right? So we'll get into that.
hmm
But what you working on?
I've been thinking a lot about some of the things we've talked about offline the last few days, and I'm really how do I articulate this? I think you and the people watching can really, if you're watching us right now, then you're in the same type of spiritual mind frame, right? And for me, I feel like I'm in like a holding pattern. And I don't know if really like that word because it denotes not doing anything. But then when we think about how he tells us, be still and know that I am God. And also, the seventh day is for rest, right? So, I feel like my life and my business journey has always been like the heartbeat or the breath of life because I feel like I'll go hard and then I'll rest. I'll go hard and then I'll fall back. I think right now I'm just in a resting pattern because when I'm in that inhale pattern or exhale, whichever one that is, I'm getting a whole lot of downloads. Do this, do this, do this, do this. But right now, I feel like I'm just maintain I like the airplane that uses all energy to take off, and then it uses less energy and just floats through the air. I think I'm here now, but in terms of revenue generation, I don't feel that way. But in terms of uh, business development, I feel like I'm in a good rhythm right now, and I don't really have to force any any new any new offers, so to speak, or build any more assets. I just right now I feel like he's telling me to just get in the rhythm of doing all the things that I'm already doing now. And if something comes, like you said, if it gives me an anxious feeling, then that's not it. But if it gives me a smooth, cool, emotional, okay, I can do that, then I'll attack it. So I feel like I'm just in a rhythm. I'm doing my live training tonight, and then and content every day, and I feel like I'm just in the rhythm, talking to people in the DMs, booking calls, and just flowing. But even with all that being said, out of all the things in my to-do pipeline, I'm really excited about what you're working on with the AI platform and how to integrate dialysis disciples and dialysis reset into that. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and I sent you that thing yesterday just to give you a taste of something. But
Yeah, I looked at it.
talked to my nephew today, because he kind of fits in a demographic that I think really could use where I'm going, right?
hmm
Specifically, right? That just picking his brain, right? Seeing
Yeah.
what is interesting, how he articulates what he's trying to accomplish, see if he understands what he's trying to accomplish, right? Meaning, once we talked about some stuff, he starts saying like what they do is they have questions, right?
They.
You know, people in his demographic, right?
hmm
His colleagues, his cousins, people that are operating at the same
hmm
space, whether they're married with children, close to being married, young, newlywed kind of thing,
Yeah.
or just young adult, 25 to 35 kind of, I was gonna say price range, age range, it's a price range too, though, but just really getting into he's saying, am I staying at this job too long? Am I do this? Do I do this? Do I do that? And so when I talked to him, I said, no, I can appreciate that. What I want you to start doing though, instead of phrasing it as questions, phrase it, make a statement out of it as far as where really what does that mean? Where are you trying to get to? Right? What are the things that you think you need to do to get to where you envision that? Because the reason why you're asking questions is because you have some point in your brain that, or some in your mind that you see.
Right,
So
right.
state it versus question it, right? And then when you state it, then we can figure out what it takes to go from that statement
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
actually making it possible. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
right.
so, and really understanding um, what's valuable to them. Because that's what I care about. Because what I do know is I already have something of value. You and I talk about this all the time. We know we have something that's valuable. So it's a matter of, okay, but what's valuable to you? And then we'll
Mhm.
just show you how to apply what we have to make that possible. You know what I mean? And so it was a great conversation while I was walking the dog. You know, that's my mobile office. You know what I mean? Got my mobile secretary with me. You know, so that's my mobile muse. Let me say that's my mobile
There
muse,
you
right?
go.
So she keeps me popping when I'm walking. But yeah, no, it was dynamic conversation, man, and really understand how to offer this thing out to that group to where I understand how we're going to construct this thing, right? So, um, and kind of what you and I talked about yesterday. This thing isn't. It's going to be. I'll be available 2 days a week, right? One at the 3 o'clock hour Eastern time, and one at the 12 o'clock Eastern hour, for an hour for the people that are working with me, already. So this will be something that's new to them, right? But and then new people as they come along that are looking to be mentored and coached throughout whatever it is. Again, this is about navigating life. What I have is to help navigate life. You know what I mean? And when they can come, when they join in, it's a monthly access, right?
Hmm.
And they'll have access to the navigator. So it's 24/7 mentorship, but the information that they're getting from themselves and the navigator is what they're going to bring to the conversation, right?
Right,
And
yeah, yeah. We
so,
talked. I think that's a great.
yeah, so
That's a
so just
great.
having that available versus, this is what I'll do is I may have special courses, kind of like what I gave yesterday, right? Specific type stuff, but I think I can keep it general and keep the value built for everybody at the same time.
So you put that. You 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 put it in the shop. Yeah, you
I
show.
did. So the idea was to put all that in the marketplace.
So it's not on like the homepage anymore. It's just in the. It's in the shop.
No, the homepage is still intact, right?
Hmm.
These are so the homepage arenas are, let me say, more extensive. I'll say it that way, right?
Hmm.
Versus what I shared with you yesterday, that was like a 1 hour workshop kind of deal,
Hmm. Gotcha.
right? So come in there,
Hmm.
this specific topic, everybody who's interested in, I want a promotion, right? So
Hmm.
great, come on over here. We're gonna get through. Everybody's gonna leave with their game plan, right, or the beginnings of their game plan to reach that goal of wanting a promotion.
So how are you marketing this? The arenas.
Just got started, bro. Just getting started. You
I'm
know,
just saying specifically, how are you marketing it? Social
everything that
media,
I'm doing
ads,
is
everything.
straight
Yeah,
networking.
yeah, yeah.
You know
Right.
me. It's that's what works for me, right?
Hmm.
Um, just on the beauty of, you know, uh, the book. Number one, reviews are starting to come in for different things, as you know, right? But the next thing that I have is, I have, my personal brand YouTube channel that's been, put together based off of all my extensions of my arms, right? It's almost
Hmm.
like an unlocked IQ kind of
I
page,
like that.
right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think that's what I'm going to name it, unlocked IQ. So everybody
yeah.
understands. I'm Mr.
Hmm.
Sports
It's on
IQ, but I'm
brand.
also
It's on
operating
brand.
unlocked, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
it's on brand.
I
Yeah.
think the unlocked IQ makes sense to me. Um, I'll run that past the team to see if they're okay with that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But the big thing for me is that's where I'm going next, right? My content is going to be over there, and then I'm going to put some stuff on Facebook. Like, hey, listen, just talking about, I'm getting a lot of love and support from you guys, but think you need to understand what I'm going to do for all of you. Join me over here, right? And we'll talk
Right.
about it, right? So that's
Hmm.
kind of where I'm going next.
I love like the fact that making yourself available in the cups, that 1 million cups arena. That's
Yeah,
huge, man. Because
love that. I love that
social
piece.
media, your social media. it is social media. It has a very wide reach, but it's a broad reach, right? Where you can when you can look somebody in the eye, shake their hand, and they can, you could connect eye to eye visually, spiritually. You gotta have a much higher percentage of helping each other or doing business with the individual. So, I think, like you said, arms, I think it's good to have both arms and to have tentacles all over. But I definitely feel like the in-person networking and in-person events are definitely where it's at. People are craving connection, right? And
Absolutely.
so that's why,
Absolutely.
and because of the times we're in, they feel that the only way they can and this is a broad, I'm putting everybody under the broad umbrella, of course, but people feel like the only way they can get this connection is by tapping into their social media and following people. And again, that is what it is, but there's nothing like a face-to-face connection.
Nothing like it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just were at an event, with the physicians.
Hmm.
You could have easily just, had to zoom in on that. But
Yeah,
nah,
right.
I mean, that handshake is everything. That's why,
Mhm.
and again, that we understand social media is possibly a necessity. I'm not because I don't know if it's a necessity. I still don't know that that's the case, right?
Hmm.
And I do know that there's a lot of thievery within that social media aspect, right? So the platforms
Hmm.
themselves are flat out stealing things. We know that,
Hmm.
right? And so
Hmm.
I'd rather be face up with people because I believe what you believe. Connection is so important. We know that's what it is, and people are craving it more because we're 5 years removed from when, or 6 years from, or I don't know what time it's from
Yeah,
COVID,
yeah,
being
yeah,
in the
right.
thick of COVID, right? You have a generation of people
Yep.
who it kind of frame, and especially if you're talking about the 20 somethings, right? They were in college or in their formative adult years during that space where they didn't have that connection, and so experience matters, right? So if I can come in and talk to a 25 to 30-year-old who's looking to, really jumpstart their career and be in some spaces, and I say to them, there's a certain way, you want to talk to your people that you report into, right? And how to navigate that space. People don't have those conversations with these young folks unless their parents were involved. But most people, they don't have that type of a conversation, how to really talk to the next level above them, right? And so if I can give them, the platform and the program to walk them through those kinds of things, and they have a blueprint and laid out to give them the confidence to do that, that's what this is all about, right? So that's why I put that thing in the marketplace. That's like one thing, right? Promotional stuff, how to talk to your boss, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different things that aren't talked about, and talked with a lot of people, right? At any level, right? Like I said, the customer specialist person I saw in the coffee shop, he started something else, but I was like, listen, he had questions like, I don't know how to talk to my boss because I want to be here, right? I said, don't come with questions, come with solutions. So then you're raising yourself up to have the conversation at the level he'd rather have a conversation, he or she would rather have a conversation at, right?
That's
Versus
gold.
he doesn't want to come down, or she doesn't want to come down to what you're thinking. She's already thought that way, right? She's from
Mhm.
here up at this point. She understands here, hopefully, right? But she wants to start here, right? I don't want to start on the third floor if I'm on the fifth, right? I don't want to start on the first. For sure, don't want to start on the first floor of my conversation. I'd rather at least it be on the fourth floor. Meet me there, right?
Yes.
Because like to your point, there's an energy thing, right? Because when you're get to, because like you said, you get to a certain point in that plane and you plateau, the energy exerted, right, isn't as much as to get there, right?
Mhm.
So, like you said, and I'm going to go back to what you stated, because for you, fantastic, right? Because now, if you've used the energy to get to where you're at the cruising altitude, because then we're going to operate unlock, because that's when you're free to move about the cabin.
Come on now.
Okay. All
Yeah, I
right.
like that. I
Because
like that.
that's my line. Feel free to move about the cabin. That's kind of what
Hmm.
operating locked is all about. So I love
Hmm.
that. That's why I
Hmm.
had to go back to when you said that, because that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. That's what's up.
But then, like you said, if something comes along that gives you the energy, right? If you're
Hmm.
cruising at 30,000, like, man, I'm trying, oh, I got to get to 40,000. Great.
Hmm.
But if you're thinking,
Yes.
man, I'm not trying to go below 30,000, then yeah, don't mess with it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like what you said too about like that's next level mentorship right there. Like and I hope who's ever was watching got that because the normal default response is when you have a problem is I'm gonna go ask somebody. That's fine. But you go ask somebody and you have the possible solution also. You know what I mean? To bump the idea off that somebody is going to now have a higher level of respect for you because they know that okay, this person knows that the next level isn't just asking a question, it's having solutions also. Now the solution might not be the best solution, but the fact that you have one and even took time to thought or think of one will let the person you know, your mentor or coach that you're asking, okay, this person's next level because they already know that that solution is something that they need to come with. So that's gold, right? That's gold right there. That's next level right there for me.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because, what I start to understand with this program that I've created, this movement
Hmm.
of operating unlocked with the book and my own AI, it comes from something I've always stated this, but it really resonated with me probably this morning when I was like, I've always said I enjoy watching people think, right? And experiencing people thinking because it goes back to one fundamental thing. Who does not enjoy that winning something and that winning feeling? Who hates the winning feeling, right?
It
They
goes
raise their
against
hand,
every
they're lying,
natural. Yeah, right.
right? They raise their hand, they're lying, right? So here's the point. If you want that winning feeling, when it comes to the winning feeling, that's the aha moment. In every winning feeling, there's an aha moment, right? We figure something out. I don't care if you're hoping, right? You figure something out. That's an aha moment, right?
Hmm.
And so when you're thinking, right, that's the whole point. And it goes back to the better quality of your thinking, right? The better quality of your life.
Quality of your question is a quality of life. That's one of my old mother mentors told me. The
So
quality of
I
your
get into
question.
yes. And so my job through me or through my 24/7 mentor program is to ask quality questions so you
Hmm.
can think, higher,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because my
That's
model,
what that's what
everybody's a
thinking
genius.
is.
That's
That's what
yeah,
thinking
and
is, Christian.
yeah,
Asking and answering your questions to yourself. That's thinking.
that's right. Which means again, everybody's a genius because only you have that answer. Then you know what I mean? It's my job to bring your genius out of you. Everybody's a genius. Let's exercise it. That's kind of that's why all my messaging is like that because that's always been my mentality. How we raised our kids, the whole nine. You know what I mean? So now I'm just bringing it to the game, right? Because what happened? You talk about somebody. Troy, let me tell you how this works. So today I was going to call somebody, a former colleague at the last company that I worked for. Just told me this morning, just give her a call. I hadn't talked to her, right? She texted me later on, not too long ago after came back from the cups and everything. She texted me. She's retiring tomorrow, right?
Mm.
I was like, I was going to call you today, right? And we're talking. She's like, yo, congratulations on the book. This is amazing. I hope you write many more. I'm thinking, all right, I don't know if I'm going to write another book. This one just came out of nowhere, but I
Mm.
appreciate that. And then she started asking. So I was explaining to her what Unlocked is all about, what this whole model and movement is about. She was like, "This is incredible. I can't believe this. It's like I'm so happy for you, right?" And we talked about the situation at the company when I was displaced out of the role, right? And they talked about how that was prematurely done, but look at you now. Absolutely, that's part of my growth, part of my journey, right?
Hmm.
Could have been mad, but why? If I'd have got mad, I never would have had this, and we
Right.
wouldn't be here right now, right?
Yeah. I love what you wrote. I was reading Overhaul, not last night, the night before last. And this, how do I say this? That's the beauty of what you're doing and what coaches do. And what I do with my on my lives and my dialysis patients is you just like you say, unlock that next level in your mind because something I read in your book, you were like, your environment has to support your new identity. That was good.
Yeah.
Because even in my ecosystem, I'm huge on identity. And
Hmm.
realignment with the
Growth.
identity is the first step in my rest process for what I teach dialysis patients, right? But you taught me that it's not only that you have to realign with the identity that he gave you, now you have to put yourself in the right environment to support the identity. I love that. Talk more about that.
Absolutely. What's that?
Talk more about that one. Putting yourself in the right environment to support your new or your I don't have to say
Yeah,
new
because
identity because it was your new discovered identity, the
yeah,
original
because
identity.
because what are we talking about, right? Because everything is about transformation,
Mhm.
right? And you're going to change some things on the way to changing your environment. Because the first thing is like, let's talk about what you do for your folks, right? For the dialysis folks, right? You're changing their lens. That's number
Yes.
one. How which governs how they see and interpret things, right? The second thing you're changing is their positioning, right? Which is how they
Mhm.
under how where they see themselves at, right? Um, how they where they internally stand on things, right?
Mhm.
The next thing is you're changing capacity, right? Because your capacity is what can we handle, right? So you're getting rid of the old stuff and filling it with the
Yep.
new stuff that's more productive for them, right? And then what happens next? You changing their activity because once they understand that, and this is the whole overhaul, what I was doing before, let me 180 and go the other direction. Let's keep it simple. If you're doing this, 180 and do the opposite, right? Change your activity. Because when you start, because when you made those four changes, you have to change your environment because how you operate is not conducive to where you were before. You got
Right.
to operate differently. That's how you
Right.
expand your horizons. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah. Open up your whole. Yeah. That's good. That's good. I really that really resonated with me, that part of the book. Something else you said just earlier. I can't remember exactly what you said, but it's something too that I've been really doing in my with my people and how I speak to my people is really listening. So when I get in a conversation with someone, I listen until I hear a problem that I never heard before,
Speak
right?
on it.
Because now, once you have that new piece of data, now you can speak to other people who think that they're alone with that same problem because it's maybe so a little bit esoteric, right? But when you speak to them, right, that's something we talked about before. When you can define something that people haven't been able to define, or put a word to something that people haven't been able to put a word to, that's instant connection, right? So if I say something to someone like, you know, like for instance, tonight I'm going to be talking about just starting dialysis, what they didn't never told you, and that hit you. So I'm hoping to hit someone else because, hey, nobody else, I'm not hearing anyone else talk about this, right? Always thought that something was wrong with me because of these issues I'm having once I'm starting dialysis. So I believe you know, just like you were able to unlock that new perspective for me, when you start saying things that people think that no one is aware that they're going through, that's a level of connection and unlocking.
I think how you just said it to me, it automatically brings on two words when you approach people like that. Thank you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right? If when you
Yeah.
go to those people like, yo, thank you. I don't care. Troy, how long you been on dialysis?
25
Off and
years
on,
off and
off and
on.
on, off and on.
25, 20, going on 26
25
off
years
and on.
off and on, right?
Yeah.
So think about this. I don't care if you've been on it for 25 years. You're going to say something to somebody, they're going to be like, man, nobody ever told me that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Right?
Hmm.
Thank you for that. Right? Because now when somebody comes to us with something that they never, like we never heard it either put that way or just never heard it before, right? What are we automatically doing? We're automatically, because all right, we've proven that we have systems and frameworks and disciplines and perspectives that solve problems. We're going to put that to use, right? Somebody tells me something, I'm running it right through. Okay, unlock. Okay, boom. Find out where I'm at. Okay, solve, not solve. Bring the solution back to the person that brought me that question. Have good conversation because now all perspectives are on the table, right? And we could discern what makes the most sense for that individual.
Right. Right. You can't coach everybody the same way. You know that from coaching basketball, right? You
Yeah,
can't
if I
coach
got a
them.
5 foot kid, you know what I mean, with with 30,000 pound feet, I ain't say I need you to catch that alley oop. We're not doing that. You know what I
You
mean?
see
Yo, the
the
play was run for you, man. The play was run for you. The back door was there. The alley oop was there. Coach, my feet are 30,000 pounds. I don't care. I was,
you
that
run it
doesn't make
anyway.
any sense.
Yeah, did you see the girl from Maryland, the coach that's all over social media, the coach screaming on her?
Coaches
She
up in
was
her
really giving a
face.
yeah, but that's what she wanted. That's what she needed.
That's why she went there.
Yeah,
That's why
that's what I'm
she went
saying.
there.
But if she did that for a different player, that same player might have quit. So you can't coach everybody the exact same way. So to your point, getting the insight from each person
Yeah,
is definitely the road to go.
yeah, yeah. I know with some of my kids, like all my kids, college athletes, right? Some you can coach hard.
Right.
Another one's like, I ain't hearing that. That's not my style, right?
You ain't
So,
my
but
daddy.
yeah, nah, but yeah, because dad's gonna come with the
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's why. But and even parenting is like that. Like, what are we
yeah.
talking about, right? We got multiple kids. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You parent them all differently, right? And that's the
Hmm.
beautiful part about all of this stuff, right? It's a
Hmm.
framework, but it's up. Listen, I can give somebody else my framework. That doesn't mean they're going to help somebody else the same way that I would, because they got to have a deep connection with it. They have to have an understanding of how to be adaptable, right, to the situation. And the way I operate, I'm off the cuff. So but you'll always say, "What'd you say?" I'm like, I don't know what I just said. I
Yeah.
never remember what I just said, right? Somebody said that to me on Sunday. What'd you just say? I was like, I don't know. Tell me, right? But what I do know is I operate from a discipline, right? How I
Hmm.
say it is going to be more creative the next time around, most likely.
Hmm.
But how I said it, I don't know. But the framework, you get it. You know what I mean? And that's why I love, like, you got your dialysis disciples, you got the rest method, you got stuff that you've proven out. You got the gifted tone book, the 40-day book. You proved it does something, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now you're here's what gets me. What you wrote, you're not selfish about it. Like, listen, all I did was capture something that happened to me that was incredible, right?
Hmm.
I'm sharing it with everybody else because I want y'all to have what that same winning aha
Hmm.
moment and that feeling, right? So I'm
Hmm.
telling you, so yeah, I'm pubbing. Stop playing with me now. Stop playing with me.
Yeah.
My brother's book, A Gifted Tone,
Yes,
right? A
sir.
Gifted Tone of the 40-day spiritual fast for dialysis patients. Now, it says that in the title. I'm not on dialysis. I'm not even close to dialysis. But the book has some gold nuggets in there for everybody, right? And for all the dialysis patients, use this as a commercial for yourself, Troy. I'm about to bless you with the words. Listen,
Word.
for all my people that are on dialysis and wondering, can you fast? You got to read the book, right?
Hmm.
Because what's going to happen is you're going to change your lens,
There
right?
you go.
You're going to change your positioning. You're going to change your capacity and your activity with respect to fasting. And what that's going to
Yes.
do, that's going to automatically make you want to change your environment. That environment could be physical and that environment could be
Yes.
mental. Read the book,
Yes.
man. Read that
Yes.
book. Put me on a
Yes. Thank
commercial,
you, bro.
man. Put me on the Dialysis Disciples commercial, the dialysisresets.com, the dialysis resort that's coming. We can't wait for
Let
that.
go.
I can't wait for that. Right?
Let go. Let go. I
You got
appreciate
me.
you, brother.
Listen, you got me excited. You got me amped up. But if you work with me, I'm gonna help. I'm gonna bring energy, but I'm also gonna bring that love. I'm gonna make you think, right? Because we're gonna dive in. Because I want to make people think. Because I want to think. I love it. It's the aha moment, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Figuring things
Thank
out
you.
is where it's at. The best words my wife
Yes.
ever gave the kids is figure it out. But you're not. But it was never figure it out by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
See,
what's
that's
up.
where people get it twisted, right?
I can hear her saying that.
Yeah, yo, figure it
I
out.
probably heard her say it before. I probably heard her say it.
You probably did.
Figure it out.
Figure it out, right? But it's never been figured out
Figure it out
by
by
yourself,
yourself. Right. Right.
right? And I think that
That's
goes
it.
with anybody and everybody, even in a professional environment. Yeah, figure it out. But when you go talk to somebody, it's not by yourself. See, the dialogue happens so the growth can happen. That's why the
That's
connection,
good.
going back to what you said, the connection is so important because of that.
Mhm.
You got me out here coaching, giving out this free content. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's what
While
it's
we
all
talking
about.
about it,
That's what it's
listen,
all about. Yeah.
www.operateunlock.com. Get the book, join the membership. We got all kinds of stuff. And my man Troy,
A lot
let's
of good
pub
stuff.
ourselves. Do it.
A lot of good stuff in that operating unlock book. And it's so cool how we're aligned. What happened?
I need you to tell the people, man. Dialysis disciples. Whatever. What is it?
Oh,
Dialysis
we
reset.
dialysisreset.com, dialysisdisciples.com, our Facebook page, Dialysis Disciples, where we we encourage and coach and guide and teach and pastor people through this dialysis journey, dialysis disciples, um, on Facebook. And that's
Bro,
where you can find me.
he's on Facebook live every Wednesday. Now let's talk about. I'm in Pennsylvania where he used to live. This joker live in Arizona, so when it's like 20 degrees out, he's clowning me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But so
nice.
he on that Mountain Time or Pacific Time. I don't know where he's at. All I know is right now he's 3 hours behind me right now. That's all I know. So
86
check him out on
degrees,
Wednesdays at was it eight,
6 o'clock,
6 o'clock?
Facebook, dialysis disciples.
Wait, give him Eastern Standard Time. Don't nobody care about that other stuff. Give him Eastern Standard Time, man. What time we
Nine
talking
o'clock.
about?
That's late for y'all.
Nine
Nine
o'clock
o'clock.
p.m. You know what
Nine
I
o'clock
mean?
Eastern.
Let's go. And then when it's daylight or whatever it is, it's 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. Yeah, we're
He in that
maybe
weird region.
maybe I squanch it up an hour for y'all East Coasters.
You
We'll
know,
see.
listen,
We'll see where the
let's
spirit
go.
leads.
Let's go. But now you can go back to where you were. I need you to say let the people know where you was at. But go ahead.
No, I was just saying how this it's good stuff in that unlock book. And what I was gonna say is it's awesome how your operate unlock method and my rest method, they're aligned. And as we said before, it's just who's just going to resonate with both. Who's going to
That's
resonate?
it.
We're given the same message. We're given it's from principles. It's from principles from the Word of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just putting it in language that that you can resonate with, and until a time where you can properly align and connect with that language too.
That's it. People can say the same thing, but somebody says something, somebody else says the same thing, and it's going to click.
From
It's
coaching
no
your girls. From coaching your girls, you can say
coaching the
something,
girls.
and they don't do it. I will go over there and tell her to pick her head up when she's dribbling
Yeah,
because
yeah. Go
she
talk to
ain't
her.
listening to me. And I go tell her, next thing you know, head up dribbling. That's just
But
how it
what's
is.
also interesting too?
Mm-hmm.
You can tell somebody something, and it's just like, birds chirping, the
Yep.
grasshoppers doing their thing, right? You don't hear nothing, right? But then they go through different experiences. You tell them that exact same thing again, and they get it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because we know this. This is where I think my book excels. It's about expanding who you are, right? We always say the be do thing, be do have, but we're gonna say because it's all about becoming the person you need to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so and as you're constantly getting better, right? And I'll say moving forward, right? You're going to go ahead and understand things differently. That's why we can go back and read something that we read before, listen to something you listened to before, and it's like, guess what you get? That aha moment, you get that click.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
And now you start to think about other things
Opens up
differently.
another thing. Yeah.
Yes. And that's the beautiful part. And I love bringing that out of people. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Something else I noted on that same regard is when you can tell somebody something, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, bounce and the other, right? And this is coaching 101. You can ask them questions to prompt them to think and come up with the answer themselves, and then it stays, right? I can say, hey, 2 plus 2 is 4.
Maybe
But
like
if you say,
Jello.
yeah, yeah, if you say, all right, let me ask you this. If I had two of this thing and I had two of this thing, and then I put them together, how many would I have? 4. So now that's in there because they came up with the answer themselves. If I tell them 2 plus 2, it might go in one and the other. And that's the biggest lesson I learned on how to transform people's minds. When I do my lives, I ask a lot of questions because I want them to start asking themselves the same questions because I'm going to ask them questions that they never even dreamed or thought to ask themselves. So if I ask them, now, like you said, it unlocks some things and now it starts matriculating their mind. And that's where transformation and aha moments happen. And I think that's the essence of coaching.
Yeah, and you touched on something extreme. Yeah. I don't know is an answer.
It is. It is.
It's an answer, right? We want to discount, I don't know, like, all right, let's move on. No, no, that's an answer, right? To that question at that moment. But you rephrase 2 plus 2, right? Or the way you did it, you rephrase it, or you put them in a different instance that
Mhm.
triggered the thought to come out. I mean, what you said, that's what I heard with what you said. You recognize that I don't know was an answer. Okay. They're not in that space. Let's give them a different instance so that they can then take that and like, okay, it's triggering. I see it. Here's what I have.
Mhm. And
Right?
I don't know is data for the coach or the teacher. Because if they tell you I know, because okay, now that's data for you. Okay, my student or my player or my client doesn't know. So now you begin your process of thinking and asking yourself, how can I get this individual to understand the concepts that we're teaching? And then that's when your juices flow into, okay, boom, now I have a question to lead him towards his answer.
And then maybe I need to reframe it moving forward for everybody else to
Yeah.
start. Let me start there now and see what that
Hmm.
triggers. Right?
Hmm.
Ah, that's good stuff, Troy. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
We
good stuff. Nah, I'm
we
excited, man. Listen, listen, just so everybody knows, this is our first live over here talking on YouTube. We're gonna be here every Wednesday. You know, as long as our schedule allows it, we here every Wednesday. Again, 10 o'clock Troy. Right now it's 1 o'clock
yeah.
Eastern Standard Time. 10 o'clock. I'm gonna give you Pacific because you move between Pacific and Mountain, I think, right?
It, we don't change times at all. So
They don't change time, so we
we at
gotta
the
say
same
they
time.
are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We
we
got
gotta
we
say
never
it's
change the
1
time.
p.m.
So
What is it,
y'all
1
gotta
p.m.
change. East Coast bias is real. That's for sure.
It's very real, right? You know, listen, we started here. Everybody, y'all went that way. We stayed here. Y'all went left. Right. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah. We still right now we 1 o'clock Eastern Standard, 10 o'clock Pacific, just so everybody knows. So if you in that Pacific time zone, jump on, right? Troy just got finished eating breakfast, you know. I'm about to eat lunch. You know what I mean? What you got going on today? Besides, I know you
Um,
got the live going on tonight.
yeah, yeah. So after we get off, I got a doctor's appointment. Um, as I mentioned to you, I've been having a low blood pressure issues. I also have this open wound on my leg that I'm dealing with,
Mhm.
and foot thing. The dialysis life ain't no joke, right? But
House is real.
it's a blessing, and that's a whole nother lesson, right? But I'm gonna go to the doctor.
Rhyming, though, talk about you
Yeah.
gonna come out here and start rhyming?
And
It's a
then I
blessing.
got a
It's a whole
doctor's
nother lesson.
appointment, and then I'm get some work done, and then got my live at 6 o'clock. So
Yeah,
that's
nice.
on the agenda today. I might work on some stuff, get in the DMs, help some people. I like to help people in the DMs. I meet people on Facebook. They'll post something, a post about struggling with something. I reach out to them and help them. I mean, if it leads to a professional relationship, so be it. If not, I just add value, and that's kind of what I do most of the
I got to come back on live. I got, I did Troy's live one time, man. He never asked me back. I must have
day.
flopped. I must have flopped that day, boy.
No, no. You be back. You be back. It's on YouTube. If anybody wants to see it. A Gifted Tome
I was
Dialysis
on
Disciples
YouTube. Let's
YouTube page.
go. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
So a gifted tome YouTube.
Yeah, Gifted Tome Dialysis Disciples.
Nice,
Yes. On
nice.
YouTube. Yep.
So
And
now we got to check that out. We got to check that out.
yeah, all my
So listen,
content's on there.
what you got for me though? Anything you got for me, man? Otherwise, we cut it out.
Yeah,
Get
I'm
ready
gonna
for the
get on
next
hit.
one next week.
Get ready to hit the road, brother. This was an excellent conversation. For those of you who don't know, we do have one more brother on our team on this podcast
In the circle.
slash YouTube in the circle, right? Fortunately, he seems to be unavailable today, but we'll get his wisdom and his blessing, spirituality blessings in here as well one of these days.
No doubt. No doubt.
But I
All right,
appreciate your
brother.
time today,
Appreciate you,
brother.
man. This was awesome.
Man.